So, 3 things being a nomad is good for. Doing nothing, which is one of the best things you can do for your entire organism. Learning how, if you didn't know before, how to build community and make friends. And creating viable solutions for ourselves where the culture is not interested in that at all. So you may not have thought of it that way when you made your plans and then eventually came out here for this to be a political statement of how you are choosing to live. But it really is. It's something new while at the same time being something very old. Nomads are often accused of doing nothing. And those of us who are out here can smile at that, knowing how hard this life can actually be in any given moment. But I get what they're saying. You're not doing anything productive. But if you've ever actually tried to do nothing, you'll understand how difficult that really is. Even just trying to meditate can be extremely difficult if your nervous system can't settle itself. But actually, doing nothing is when you can be the most productive, because that's when your curiosity, your creativity, and your ability to let your body, soul, spirit rest comes online. And being out here in Mama Nature's finest is the perfect spot, I was going to say, to accomplish that. But we're not trying to accomplish that. And our productivity shows up in other ways. Being able to help in the community, either offering suggestions, being there when rides are needed, when rigs break down. I've been the beneficiary of that. You know who you are. I also help facilitate a discussion group about all things nomad for newbies and oldsters. And it's a great way to connect with people, make friends, and create a community. Even if you're only still in sticks and bricks and thinking about this lifestyle, doesn't matter. That community that gets built is because that part of our brains is not being kept busy and making somebody else's life better. And I just recently bumped into some YouTube videos from a younger generation's point of view in another culture in China, but their ability to find jobs as recent graduates is apparently next to nothing. And one of their responses is to lying flat. And there are folks in the culture who have come up with a great idea. They're calling it youth retirement retreats. Young people can go to rest and decompress from all of the stress involved living in that and be part of a community of people who are doing the same thing, trying to figure out how to survive. And then apparently in some of these places there's a component of helping you figure out what your next move might be in the job market, even though apparently it's very difficult to find something that pays a living wage. Sound familiar? It's so much easier as nomads to create community because we don't experience that divide between home and work, first and second place, and third places as expensive revenue generating opportunities for owners of bars and restaurants and other venues where people can get together. We can come out here and gather on public land, following the rules, most of us, 14 days at a time, leaving no trace and hopefully leaving it better than we found it. We're creating those third places for ourselves because the culture and those who are taking ownership of the version of the economy that we have are not. Actually, they're making it more difficult. Third places have been disappearing for a very long time. We've followed the example of the English, who we've based our legal system on, based on private property. And it goes back even further than that, when modern agriculture was invented and benefited a chosen few and basically locked up the food, whereas before it was available to anyone who wanted to gather it. Families depended on that, and all of a sudden they needed to start buying it from somebody else. I highly recommend the book Ishmael. I'll put the link in the description if this is a concept that's new to you. It was very eye-opening to me. the little guy's options have been encroached upon and encroached upon and encroached upon until those of us who are out here taking advantage of one of the only loopholes that are left is when we don't have enough month at the end of the money for living in an astronomically priced box with no funds left over to do anything other than exist in that box. We choose, or some of us are forced to, come out here and create a life that includes community, that includes doing nothing, so we can be productive in ways that benefit ourselves, our brains, our bodies, and we're able to assist other people. In my humble opinion, it's more difficult to wake up every day and be aware of, but try to pretend that you're not aware of the game that's going on, that you're engaging in because of money. That's way more difficult than coming out here and making a workable, doable, enjoyable life for yourself. As an INFJ, I can't help but poke holes in the facade until I understand how things work and why. Once you see those structures that hold all this in place, you can't unsee them. So we do nothing so we can be constructive in that regard, in healing ourselves, in making it better out here in terms of cleaning up what we come across, if that's the case. We build community out here and help each other. I've been part of a couple of organizations doing just that. And we come up with solutions for the situation that's being constructed around us, that we have no consent in. Nobody's considering our situations. So we look around and create a solution for ourselves. And I get that this lifestyle isn't for everybody. Not everyone would be able to participate in it successfully, but for those of us who can and do, it's viable.